The topic of tonight, why cloud native development accelerates your business. And I'd like to start with a consideration. What does acceleration even mean? Just to start with a simple picture, looking at where our business is today on the left and where we need to be on the right, our target state. With that in mind, acceleration basically means we can make a plan. For example, we can draw a line, and then it's basically run forest. And the faster, the better. The faster we accelerate, the sooner we hit our target, and the more successful we will be. And as I already told you, of course, the cloud helps here. But this is not really how it works in today's world, at least not according to what I've seen. In reality, I would argue it's more like this. We have a rough idea of our target, and then we make our first step in that direction. But then we see, oh, wait a second, the environment has changed, competition has changed, other stuff has changed, we have learned. So we need to adapt the position of our target, and we make another step into the new direction. Again, target has changed, so we take a curve once more, and so on and so forth. And this is constantly evolving. And what we do here is inspect and adapt, which is really the essence of working agile. Forget about certain processes, frameworks, meetings, whatever people tell you you need to do to be agile. This is the essence. To make small steps, to inspect where we are, to adapt if things have changed, and make a step maybe into the same, maybe into a different direction. So with that, what I would call acceleration is basically comprised of two factors. Number one is being able to make these small steps really fast. We accelerate a lot, and then we brake, and then we accelerate, and then we brake, and so on. But of course, it's also being able to locate the target, and we need both to be successful. And in order to do so, what we always try to achieve and always try to recommend is a simple approach, which seems obvious. Eliminate overhead and focus on value. Because to achieve this kind of acceleration, we need to get rid of everything we do not need and focus on stuff that really matters. And one important note here, there are essentially two different types of value. The first type is doing things that matter, which would mean a step in the right direction. But the other type would be doing things that help us to figure out what matters. So experiments to learn, getting feedback, and so on. And we need both in order to have that acceleration to succeed also business-wise. So how do we do this? And how does the cloud help us to do this? I often explain this with three really, really simple basic principles: less operations, less effort without impact, less waste. And if we start with the first one, less operations, I guess that is pretty obvious. We should not have to manage hardware. We don't want to run our own data center. We don't want to buy computers before we can get started. The cloud is there, it just works. So not much explanation needed, in my opinion. The second one, less effort without impact, is basically all about managed services. We should not build our own solution for a standard problem. To make that a little bit more tangible, I do not have to build my own, image processing because Amazon already did so. And I also do not have to build my own IoT device to web service integration because some smart guy already did so, and so on and so forth. And what is really, really important here is more and more problems over the years become standard problems. And for that, I like to use another image, which is, in my opinion, very, very intuitive. And that is this picture. In earlier days, manual gear shifting, as you can see on the left, was the only option. I had to be able to do that properly to drive a car, right? And I might be really good at gear shifting, or I have a very special way to do it. And I might still do that today, but if I have a hard time, or it just doesn't matter much for me or for the way I drive, this is no issue anymore. I just take the automatic gear shift on the right and it just works. And it just works because others have solved the problem for me. I don't need to invest to solve that. And this is exactly what happens with all these managed services you have today in the cloud that just didn't exist 20 years ago. And new ones are popping up all the time. So the point I'm trying to make here is we are not just moving slower if we are not using the cloud. We are actually constantly falling behind our competition because we have to build all the basic stuff others are simply using. We are trying to learn how to gear shift while others are already on the road. We are dealing with the overhead while others add value. And in the end, we are failing while others succeed, which is, of course, not a position you want to be in. Getting back to the overview, and the third aspect, less waste, we should validate our assumptions before investing too much. This is all about finding the target and making sure we are heading into the right direction. And to validate assumptions, we need to run experiments. We need to do A/B testing. We need to quickly try something, collect real user feedback, and then maybe throw it away. And we need to be able to run these experiments really, really fast. So we only build the small parts that are specific to our use case, that are the essence of what we would like to figure out. And for the remainder, we just use standard solutions that are already around. And for all the experiments that don't work, we will just throw it all away quickly. And we don't have to get rid of physical servers. We just need to deprovision all the services we had in the cloud. And even for experiments that are successful, we will probably throw most of it away because after the learning, we will figure out how to build it properly. And at this point, I would argue you can already see the flywheel here. When we build stuff faster with support of all these benefits we have in the cloud, we gain an advantage, of course. We get in front of the competition. And what is really important here, we still have free capacity left to experiment and to make sure we are not just moving fast, but we are also heading into the right direction. And that, of course, gives us an even bigger advantage. And in the end, we are hopefully the market leader, while others, our competitors, are still trying to get their core functionality production ready, to get on the road and to get everything scalable. And in my opinion, that is, after all, why cloud native engineering accelerates your business.